Hi, this is Dawn here for Soul Simple Life Shifts, and today we're going to look at one of the most important shifts, I believe, for our collective experience for the evolution of humanity, and I believe this is happening, although we do not see it reflected, in the media necessarily or in the things that are put before us, which is the dying systems holding on for dear life. But in any case, today's topic is the movement or the life shift from competition to cooperation and collaboration. So how we've done it before is everything was a win-lose proposition. It was you or me. It was cutthroat, it was competition, it was battle to the death, it was only one survivor, right? You just think of it like that model right there, Survivor, the TV show, and or this whole idea of, we've got to eliminate the other, and it always has to be this sort of opposing forces kind of scenario. Where we're headed and the whole new way forward together is one of cooperation and collaboration, where there is a higher outcome. I'll talk about that in a minute, a little bit more, but where there is a new possibility, something maybe we hadn't considered before, or simply a solution that emerges from we rather than you and me. That also can be the case. So this one is a little bit layered. I'm going to give you 3 suggestions for a Soul Simple Life practice that you can implement in terms of making this shift from competition to collaboration and cooperation. Probably some other C words that go with that as well, but let's just look at the three suggestions. So one is better yet. So when you are looking at a problem and or by the way, a lot of where the competition came from is this idea that everything is a problem solution, and often the problem is created and the solution is presented, and it just becomes a big game. But in any case, sorry about that. Better yet. Okay, better yet is something you can use where there is a scenario of like negotiation or a project where this person has this interest and this person has this interest. Try to think of it as a triangle and then a pyramid with a firm foundation. What is the pinnacle? What is the better yet? What is the better outcome than my what is the word I'm looking for? My direction that gets me to where I want to be and your direction that gets you to where you want to be. Where can that come together and converge into the tip of a pyramid with a firm foundation where that we both have something that may be even better than what we originally wanted? So that is the better yet scenario. Just ask yourself that question. You don't have to do the pyramid thing. It's how I visualized it, and I haven't actually worked through why. So I will try to do that in the future and come back with a tool or something I can share with you. But the better yet scenario is one you can use where you can, really just step back and say, well, what do all the parties invested really want? And if it's easier, of course, if there's just 2 people, because it's usually fairly obvious this and that. And look at, if you've got a scenario in your life right now, look at some of the information that's probably available, well, definitely available now with AI, but not that I'm advocating for AI in all circumstances, but in terms of negotiation tactics and in terms of other scenarios where there are opposing interests. So better yet, another very similar approach is to use the third way. So there's my way, there's your way. What's the third way? And often the third way can be arrived at by backing off from the positions of the two and thinking, again, I kind of visualize this as the pyramid, and thinking of this third thing that could actually move us both at least in the direction of what we desire, the 2 parties, the us and them, or the you and me. And what is that third way that actually takes us to a place that neither of us had envisioned, but that moves us toward what we both desire and want? So I use this one a lot in my day-to-day life even when it's not about competition with people, but maybe it's two competing ideas or two competing projects that both seem equally valuable or important or priorities. And how do I choose where to dedicate my focus? And at times I have actually ended up combining two things. This doesn't always work. And other times I've actually not done either, but chosen a third option that has elements or components of what was most important in the two options. So that thereby simplifies, right? It's one thing instead of the two. And it also moves me forward, and moves the ideas or the circumstances that I wanted to create. It allows those to be created or brought forward or emphasized in a new way. So the third way. So we have better yet and third way. The third thing that I want to recommend is the highest outcomes matrix. Now, somewhere in my notebook, I have my own highest outcomes matrix, but I couldn't find it. I'll look for it and share it in the future. So what I did is I did plug that into ChatGPT to see what came out, and it's very similar to a different language, but very similar to kind of what I use. So that is, I'm just going to use what ChatGPT came up with. The higher outcomes matrix. 1, what outcome serves me, and what outcome serves you or us and them if it's a group, or you get the idea, communities, two parties. So what outcome serves me or us, what outcome serves you or them. The third part of the matrix is what outcome serves the larger group or the system or the area or the field or the experience, the realm. So try to find the commonality from which you're both operating. So as an example, say there are two opposing groups that are invested in a specific outcome in education, and they have diametrically opposed views about what should happen. So you identify option A, option B, and then you think about the field, the group, the system. So in this case, education and the children that are being educated, or the adults, or whoever's being educated, and you think about that outcome, what actually serves, and you will begin to naturally, when you identify that, take it up a level, right? Because you remove the ego from it, or the interests that are swayed and informed by other things. And then the fourth question from ChatGPT was what outcome serves the future? And this is where I have a whole thing on my matrix that is very specific questions. So I really want to find that for you. And when I do, I'll link it here below. But let's just stay with this question. What outcome serves the future? And as ChatGPT said, the fourth question is often the breakthrough. Many competitive solutions look good today, but create future costs. I have definitely found this to be the case in my own life, even when I got my own way, so to speak, when I was able to push forward my perspective or agenda in something, or like in the realm of like the two project idea that I mentioned a while ago, like when my ego essentially, or another driving force that was pertinent at the time, when I allowed that to make the decision for me, okay, we're going with this one because it's more money quicker, for example, or it'll get me more recognition, or whatever other thing might be driving that. When I have done that, I have forfeited what actually served my long-term goal, the future, the highest outcome for myself as an individual, for the group that I was within, and for the whole of humanity, the collective, and for the highest good for all, what really serves. So there are lots of different other nuances and levels we could put in that, but for now, the higher outcomes matrix that we're going to go with for the sake of today's video is what outcome serves me or us, you or them, the larger group or system or container or field that you're operating within, and then the future. In the future, I want you to consider the future as in for all. So consider it for yourself as well, and for the other individual, and for the group. But most importantly, consider the highest outcome for that is uplifting for all and that will be sustainable. I think that's the other thing that's maybe not mentioned here, that is a part of my matrix, which is which way of moving this project forward, which we want to move towards collaboration and cooperation with individuals, cooperation with groups, cooperation with seemingly competing ideas, cooperation. So think about that word also, cooperation, to operate together. And that does not have to be driven toward competition or full-on collaboration or consensus. It's helpful when that can be the case, but it can be something a little bit different. It can look like, the way I visualize it is like a constellation. So people are connected to a central cause and operating maybe in their own little spheres of influence, but coming together to ensure that the whole thing doesn't get lopsided. And so this higher outcomes matrix can really assist in considering it from multiple angles. So today's video again was the life shift from competition to cooperation and collaboration, from a win-lose, me and you, me or you proposition. So, it's basically the duality again, to the higher outcome that can serve all, and where possible, operating in collaboration, in we, for the highest good of all. All right, that's today. I hope that's helpful and gets you started in terms of looking at that life shift from competition to cooperation and collaboration.